I'm sorry about the delay, folks, but StreamYard's having some fun with me at my expense. I want people to at least let me know what's going on here. I'm echoing allegedly with the people who are in the studio. And please, if you're in the chat room, let me know if this is echoing and whether it's really laborious and difficult to listen to. Because if it is, we'll just shut it down and move on and do whatever. Because there's not going to be a show. Excuse me, not going to be a show on Friday because I'm getting my second vaccination shot. So there you go. So
why don't you buy one of them fake cards, and that way you don't have to get a vaccine. You can say you already have the vaccine.
So I guess that I'm to assume that nobody is in the chat room because nobody's responded. Okay, so
no one cares.
Well, I mean, it's either echoing or it's not, and if it is to the end user, if it's just to the people here in the studio, I'm not going to worry about it. But if somebody could tell me in the chat room whether this is echoing or not, and hi Key, is it echoing?
Rick says big echo on Bronx. So put the big brain on Bronco.
It's echoing on Bronx. How about me? Ron's saying no. So it's very strange. So Bronk is echoing, but Mark isn't.
So, I wonder if we leave and come back.
Yeah, let's leave.
All right. So I'll start doing the show. Come back. I'll let you all back in. All right. Hi, everybody. Right. Sorry about all this, but this is the vagaries of the internet. And for the last 15 minutes, they've been telling me it's me who's echoing, and it ended up being one of them. So you go figure. Although they all said I was, so I don't know. So now Brian is back, and slowly but surely we'll bring people back. You know, it's not like there's a whole hell of a lot that's going on in the world of sports, but there are some stories.
I fixed it.
No, it didn't.
Never mind.
All right. So as long as I'm good to the end user, that's really, at least there could be a program. I'm just doing a quick headline here. Green Bay Packers giving a tryout to Kelly at quarterback, and I don't think Jim's up to it. I mean, they already have an old quarterback, but this is ridiculous.
I think Holcomb's still selling barbecue sauce. So.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Brian is echoing also. So this is a StreamYard problem, and I'm not going to really worry too much about it. Although the real headline that really slapped me in the ass is something that just won't go away, and I'm going to bring them out now because it's time. It's time.
PCOD.
It's time. I mean, it was such a good year with the Cleveland Browns this last year. He never even came out. He was like
Steeler week. He came out.
He was like Cordell Stewart. He never came out. You know. So here you are. He's staring down, and the story is a pathetic story. The Jacksonville Jaguars expected to sign former quarterback turned tight end Tim Tebow to a one-year deal. Now, you know, why won't some things just go away?
I don't know. It's a bit like playing the calf. They never go away.
My God, it's like how many... This is becoming Daryl Strawberry-esque, but instead of drugs being the problem, Tim Tebow's the problem. That's the problem. I mean, the guy... now when he kneeled, here's another thing about that little cocksucker. When he kneeled on the field, none of the goddamn right-wing people had a problem with him kneeling on the field. Not at all. Because it was the name of his fake god. Okay? That was fine. Yeah. And there you have it. Tim Tebow, Christian, who just won't go away.
And the Christians are just the evil people of the earth.
If you're one of them, damn straight.
Get the fuck out.
Damn straight if you're one of them. If you're calling yourself a Christian, give me a fucking break. You're showing goddamn video YouTubes up of hateful people. God damn, you're not a Christian. It's the
Faithful
fake
people.
Christian.
Yes, we should judge everybody by the
It's
color
the-
of their skin,
It's the
not
fake
the content of their character.
It's the fake Christians that bother me. He makes a big deal out of being, oh, look at me, I'm Sandra D on the field. It's like, well, learn how to play the fucking game first, you know? And the Jaguars, I mean, what are they thinking? And the answer is what they've been thinking since Shahid Khan bought the team. And this is what I really wanted to talk about. Because when an ownership of a team goes to hell, the whole organization goes to hell with it. And Shahid Khan, since he's taken over the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've had no fan base. They've had trouble getting people into the stadium. They've been playing in England every so often, and the British people got sick of it. They chose scones over football. I mean, here is a list of the Jacksonville Jaguars seasons since 2008. Okay? Here we go. 5-11, 7-9, 8-8, 5-11, 2-14, 4-12, 3-13, 5-11, 3-13, and then all of a sudden in 2017, woohoo, 10-6, and then 5-11, 6-10, and 1-15. All right. This ain't going in the right direction. Shahid bought the team in 2012, by the way. So his first year, he was 2-14. So he's won 2, 4, 3, 5, 3 games, 1 10-game win season. And then every coach, every quarterback, everything he's tried, he won't get out of the fucking way. And what does he do now? It's like, well, we're all lost, you know? It's a lost cause. So all we can do is maybe we can drum up some fan interest by bringing Tim Tebow in as a fake tight end. You want to talk about fake news? How about a fight? I mean, we're talking about a fake tight end. Does somebody have a sound source running?
It sounds like Cynthia Freeland.
I don't know.
Who's watching the?
Oh, okay, that's on me. That one's on me. Sometimes these things actually come.
Blame the Christian and his atheist all along.
I blame you for everything, Brian. You're a representation of what the country's become. It doesn't work. It complains and it's bigoted. Okay. God.
How am I bigoted?
Okay. All right. That's actually funny.
I just hate communists.
Yeah. The poor Jaguars, you know, it's like if the only thing you can do is to drum up interest in your team by saying, oh, look we worked out Tim Tebow. It's another publicity move by Tebow.
Oh, they would have moved to London. You know that.
Do you realize that if Shahid Khan were serious, I mean, he could get David Njoku. He could. The Browns would have parted with David Njoku. I guarantee you, because Carlson could step in and do the things, and they could have gotten themselves a real tight end. They're not serious. The league needs to do something about shit like this. And the reason that I have such strong feelings is because you look at that, once again, that list of seasons. From 2008 to present, 1 year where they had 10 wins. And it makes me a little nervous about the Cleveland Browns, to be very honest with you, because our record was worse than theirs, thanks to Jimmy Haslam and the people before him. I mean, then all of a sudden we had this really good season last year, and it's like, I guess maybe a blind pig can find an acorn once in a while, and we used to do dumb shit like this. Oh, you know, RG3, we're going to do a reclamation project. We're going to bring RG3 in. We're going to draft Johnny Manziel. That's what we're going to do. We're going to create some excitement. We're going to wreck this league. Bad ownership does bad stuff. And it's all to Tim Tebow's advantage because he's going to turn around and say, thank you, Jesus. Jesus let me back into the league. It was Jesus. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, it's sports, man. You either can play or you can't play. People told Tim Tebow 10 fucking years ago, you know, if you're going to try it in the NFL,
How old is he anyway?
33. If you're gonna try this,
God, Brian's got girlfriends younger than Tebow.
try. Come on, don't go. We
Come on.
aim high. No, I mean, the guy 10 years ago was told, you're not a quarterback, for God's sakes. Try being a tight end because you're a good sized guy.
Hey,
And
you can always try baseball. You know, that might work out for him.
he wouldn't do that. He had to do the next publicity generating thing. He was going to stay in the minor leagues, which is what he did. And then a team, sure enough, they brought him up as they moved him up in the minor league system. Yeah. Just so they could get a little more attendance at their minor league game and he could get his name in the news again. He is so consistently me and enamored with himself. He makes LeBron James, honest to God, seem like a wallflower.
An introvert.
My God. And it's like, oh, but he's a good Christian. He's delusional. And how he gets people to go along with this shit, I have no idea. He must have no life whatsoever. And you know something? You come into a league when you're 33 and you're playing an unfamiliar position. Let him out on the field. Let him play and let him get blindsided. Let him get shot blocked. Fuck him. I never want to see him again. I never want to hear his name again. I didn't want to hear his name again after he would throw the ball like a girl. And the Broncos led the league in defense, so he managed to have a 500 record. You remember that?
Yeah.
But when it came to him actually having to win a game, never happened. Couldn't happen.
Oh, and the fucking jump pass.
It was like 13-7. Those were the games, 13-10 that he won. You know, it was like all defense. And Jacksonville, you know, and doesn't that make Trevor Lawrence feel great? Oh, thanks for bringing me in a real tight end. Thanks. That's the way you get off to a really good start with your number one draft pick.
Tell you what, LeBron James would be a better tight end than Tim Tebow would be. Right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, there have to be a ton of people who could be a better tight end than Tim Tebow. And I sure as hell, if he makes the roster, I mean, they should come in and take the owner away. And anyway, Brian believes that anyone named Shahid Khan shouldn't be allowed to own anything in America at all. He has no rights, no citizenship, nothing. Because his name is Shahid Khan. Okay?
Really?
Yeah, that's right. And I would agree with you in this case. He shouldn't be in Jacksonville. Get the football team away from him. It's awful.
Well, they should kick out all the American owners of the English Premier League teams straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Glazers for
I didn't know that Shahid Khan was a fucking refugee from Somalia.
I don't even know who Shahid Khan, how he made his money, but it ain't football, I can tell you that. And I guess I have a real sore spot because of the horrible Randy Lerner / Jimmy Haslam shit we've been through. You know, it's frustrating as hell.
Well, what about the Snyder crap?
Look, there's... If I were a Washington fan, which I'm not, but if I was, if I was one of the hogs, I'd take a big fucking dump of the midfield line. Yeah, people take over and they ruin franchises and they become part of the boys club. And I feel the same way about Art Modell. Art Modell was the ultimate guy who was one of the boys club in the NFL. But did he ever really do anything for us? No. No, he fucked us. That's what he did. So
you know what? Somebody should have drilled into Art Modell's teeth with a screwdriver. Something like that.
It's a 1-year deal, Ron. The 1-year deal. I don't know how much money Tebow is going to get. It might as well be Tom Tebow. He corrected.
Why do you need money when you have Jesus, though?
Well, that's exactly. He needs no material belongings whatsoever.
Exactly.
You know,
live like a disciple.
I don't know. Maybe if he kneels on the field before the game, maybe a psycho right winger will shoot him in the head. It's a possibility. It's a real possibility. I got off on a wrong foot on this show, and I'm
Yeah,
in a
you
foul
bumped yourself,
fucking
man.
mood, you
You are
know?
in bad mood, man.
Foul fucking mood. Come on,
FOWL
man.
foul or FOW?
Oh,
Tim
BCOD.
Tebow. I want Tim Tebow.
Wow.
You know what I want him? I want him Chuck Hughes. Chuck Hughes.
Wow.
Look it up. I don't have time to explain that. It was the only time I ever saw a football player die on camera.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit
that's the
Lions.
Lions guy. Yeah, Lions tight end, I think.
It's horrible. It was a horrible
He
thing.
was dead.
And the one thing that we know is that Sendejo didn't make the hit.
Yeah, leave Sendejo alone. He's gonna retire now.
I mean, is this happening like for a reason that Urban Meyer still thinks he's in college? You know,
Urban
I mean,
Meyer's
I have
overrated.
no idea. I mean, what is going on in that organization? You can't tell me that Urban Meyer said, "Hey, let's bring Tebow in for a year, a 1-year fucking contract."
Is it because they're in Florida still at the moment?
Sure, that's the only reason.
Because
Just try to
Jacksonville
put butts in the seat. Don't
Yeah.
improve the product. Try to trick the fans. Pull a P.T. Barnum. You know, screw them around.
There's a sucker born every minute,
Yeah.
and they usually vote Democrat.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, Key. You know, Amsterdam has been told to fuck off more times than any other person on this program. So, yep, don't
He's
feel
just
bad.
a quarter of the man he used to be.
I don't know.
Now,
I would say
After
Tony
paying
Katz
for
gets
2
told to
divorces.
fuck off.
and you know, the overexposed Stephen Rose. You know, Stephen Rose, 7-hour marathons, dude. You're like the king of YouTube. Me, I cannot.
You should do a 7-hour moose show just for the hell of it.
I mean, I
It
don't
could
know.
last 2.5.
I don't know what I would talk about. By like after the first hour and a half, I would be forced to talk about things like
Oh, we could have like pop quizzes and like
anal
greatest
sex,
hits of the '90s,
you know,
and
every
White
bad
Snakes,
impersonation
greatest
I
hits.
do. You know, could you imagine after 6 hours having to listen to
Timmy Bartholomew.
oh,
Oh,
oh, it's me, oh, Tim Tebow, oh, Peter Alice in heaven.
oh.
I wish somebody would put a double-barreled shotgun to his head and put him out of his misery. Now, could you imagine if you were having to listen to that shit? 6
Peter
hours
Ellis
into a
sings the
program.
blues.
You didn't wake up
Now,
this
this is
morning.
really strange. You know, this is an odd dichotomy here, Key. You might want to have your head examined. If Brian and I are your favorites on the show, then you're bipolar.
Well, I'm kind of relieved I'm not one of the favorites. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to live up to. You
It's a lot
know,
to live up to. Well, it's a big responsibility.
all of Canada and Texas is tuned in. It's difficult. So, at any rate, now here's what I call getting a taste of the real world. And Lindsay Gottlieb, yes, the woman who was the bench coach for the Cavaliers, you remember? She's gone. Hall & Oates. She's gone. Oh, why don't we do a Daryl
Well,
Hall?
at least it wasn't man-eater.
Whoa! What? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
She's a man-eater.
Watch
No,
out,
she's
boy.
a woman
She'll
eater.
chew you up.
She's a woman eater,
Oh,
believe me. Be that as it may, Lindsay Gottlieb turned her little, sojourn with the Cavs from 2019 into gold. She is now agreed to a 6-year contract to become the women's head coach at USC without ever having actually given it.
Given head, you mean?
Thank you. No,
That's what a
glad
shake.
you picked up on that. Gottlieb leaves the NBA after an aggressive USC pursuit to bring her back to the Pac-12 conference, including a massive upgrade in program salary and resources with hopes of restoring the USC Trojans, another interesting name, to the elite of women's college basketball. Now, you know, here's a person who said, I'm going to prove that a woman can do this in the NBA, that I can be a... All you have to do now, Cleveland Cavaliers, it's like ghost town, man. It's like women's basketball started looking really good again to Lindsay, don't you think? After having to sit there through the Cavaliers, and I don't even watch it anymore.
And how bad do you feel for JB Bickerstaff?
Oh, Bickerstaff is just, this is what you call, get hired to get fired, and he's going to be blamed. And
he's the coach? I thought Byron Scott was still the coach.
Nobody seems to know who's running the Cavaliers, but it's not Dan Gilbert. The belief is it might be his young son, who's only 6.
Nick.
No, not Nick, the other one.
Dead?
No. He just has a lot of people he looks up to. I don't understand who's running the team. But none of it makes sense. Hey, let's bring Anderson Varejao back and trot him around. That's Tim Tebow. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing. Because Gilbert at least knew.
Last night, that was just like they're in the game with the Mavericks, and they finally get a break. Luka Doncic fucking backhand
right in the balls.
Gets ejected. And then they still proceed to lose by 30.
The thing is, after the game, Sexton's like, oh, I'm all good with it. Hey, I got hit in the groin by Luka. He's outstanding. Yeah, I'll take it. Kick me in the nuts. Do whatever you want. I'm a Cavalier and I lay down. Colin Sexton should be coming off the bench. He won't play defense, and he jacks too many shots up.
Yeah,
and there's reports that players are complaining about his ball hogging.
Oh, there's just no doubt. I mean, it's Andrew Wiggins II. I mean, make it stop, dear God. And
he's still alive.
He's still alive. He's
on the Warriors.
Yeah, Golden State. But you see, our point guard, Darius Garland, is the real thing. Okay? He passes the ball. He makes other people look better. It's good work, He does good work. But
he's great when he's Emperor of Persia, too, Darius.
Evan Love's given up.
Well,
Jared Allen's completely checked out.
Jared Allen is not the same player that we started to see. Just not the same guy. And this is what happens playing for an organization that is adrift. The fact that Larry Nance Jr. is again gone for the season because he's always injured. But right along, go ahead and talk to him. Talk to any number of the people on the team. They're distraught over it's a rudderless ship. And poor JB Bickerstaff has to be
stuck in the Suez Canal.
Huh?
Stuck in the Suez Canal sideways.
Yeah. The organization, is crumbling. I mean, Dan Gilbert did what he had to do money-wise to bring the Cavaliers a championship. However, he's a very hard guy to deal with. Now, it looks like we have somebody at the helm who doesn't know what in the hell they're doing. And it's hard to watch. Really hard to watch. And this is the way it is now in the NBA. So I guess this is what we have to look forward to. And Jared Allen now is going to be looking to get out of Cleveland any way he can. Everybody. Just like nobody wants to go to Jacksonville. In football, nobody's going to want to come to the Cavaliers mid-sized market, and
it's just even the Lakers are in jeopardy falling out of the playoffs completely. And LeBron James is still resting his ankles.
Well, I think he wouldn't be resting his ankle and his leg unless there's something really wrong with him, because historically he's been an Iron
He'll play
Man.
through his hand,
And I think that there comes a point where the Iron Man just can't do it anymore. And I suspect that's what's happening here. So, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's an unfortunate thing. Cavaliers, and the Kevin Love thing, I do have a strong opinion about that too. Kevin Love wanted to be the poster child of mental illness. Okay, this is what he did.
Yeah, he's got some problems.
He's got problems, all right, because when it creeps out onto the floor with a bad attitude and quitting in games,
Yeah,
I don't want to have anything to
he
do
was
with
showing
it.
that shit in Minnesota. His last year, he was like doing knuckle push-ups to show off to a girl and broke his fucking hand. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Maturity.
Well, mature. I mean, he's a veteran. I mean, if anything, he's supposed to be a guy they look up to, and instead, this is so it's a mess. Cavaliers are a mess. Meanwhile, the
So bad
Indians,
Ben from RealCavsFans.com is retired. He's saying, fuck this shit.
and I don't know what that story's all about either. Ben and I go back so many years, and I did drop him a phone call message. I'm sure he's busy doing all kinds of things. But yeah, from what I understand, he's given up the handle and just having a private Twitter account and inviting people to join him there. But obviously, he's turned the reins over on RCF. And I mean, at this point, it's got to be an absolute labor of love for somebody like it has been for Ben all these years. It is really hard. It's hard to watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm right with Tony. You're sitting and watching a product, and the people who are on the court are not even NBA players. I mean, why would you put Anderson Varejao on the court? I mean,
He hadn't been in the league in 2 fucking years. Just hadn't been playing basketball in 2 years. It's not like he was playing in the Brazilian leagues. He was sitting on his couch.
yeah, and it looked like it.
They bring him in to play a quick 11-game contract
And
before
there's
they retire his number.
No fans there to watch it.
No.
I mean, the whole thing is just cockamamie.
Yeah,
Now, the
they're allowed to have
Indians-
10,000. From what I've been reading, they can't draw more than maybe 1,000 people.
No, who wants to watch them get blown out by 30
Yeah.
points every game?
Yeah.
And the Indians, they've been no-hit twice this year. All right,
Yay!
4 no-hitters in Major League Baseball
Hey,
twice
remember
against
when
the
I
Indians.
predicted they were going to get no hit? I got no hit that same weekend.
They're still in contention.
Well, and Steven is voicing the common rage here that NBA is at least an exciting
baseball
game
is
to watch. I mean,
appalling.
even the
God.
lousy Cavaliers can do, run a pick and roll with a spectacular dunk, but baseball is just a snooze. I mean, 3 hours of nothingness, and the thing that's amazing is no hit twice, and they're still 1 game behind in their division.
Well,
How
because
in the-
everybody's appalling. The White Sox suck. The Royals suck. The Twins are.
God,
God,
what a disaster.
I mean,
I just don't, I'm looking at the Cleveland Indians, the team stats,
they
okay?
got 3 guys in the bullpen that are stopping everybody once they get to the 7th inning, and that's why they've got more wins than losses.
Well, here's the thing that encourages people like the Dolans, all right?
Exactly.
I
Do
mean, the
they need
Dolans
encouraging?
just keep saying the same shit over and over. Well, if we have pitching, ... that's an excuse to cut their payroll and not have any fucking decent players on the offensive side.
I
So
mean, Ryan Garco could start with this team.
I try not to think of Ryan Garco, but thank you for bringing him up. I'm looking at the team totals for their pitching, and it's remarkable. They're number 3 in ERA.
Yeah.
They're number 5 in complete games. In saves, they're 3rd, and in innings pitched, 13th. But then you start looking, only they're 2nd in hits given up, and they're 2nd in runs given up, and 3rd in earned runs giving up, and they're 9th in giving up home runs. I mean, their pitching staff is single-handedly doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nutty. I mean, and you're looking at guys like Clase, who's got
That's
a
amazing.
1.26 earned run average, and Quantrill, who's got a 2.12, and Karinchak, who's got a 0.6. Brian Shaw's at a 2.03, and Nick Whitgren's still having a little bit of problems.
I'll tell you what, just don't watch the game until like the 8th or 9th inning, and if they happen to be winning, then leave it on, and just don't watch the first 2.5 to 3 hours of it.
But God forbid if any of these pitchers, Clase, Karinchak, Shaw, maybe Whitgren if he gets himself together, but if these guys get hurt, Phil Maton is not going to help you.
Wow.
Trevor Stephan is not going to help you. Sam Henches is not going to help you. All right.
People have Scott Sauer back.
The only guy I kind of like is Nick Sandlin, the guy they brought up from the minors. He's got that funky, he's what we thought. What was the guy's name? Simber. Adam Simber was supposed to be, right. And he's got movement on that ball, and he throws it over 90, unlike idiot
Simber was
Simber.
throwing batting practice.
84, 85 miles an hour is all Adam Simber could get the ball up with. It was a one-trick pony. But Sandlin, he's pitched 4 innings with 4 strikeouts, and he's, not walking hitters, and he has a history in the minor leagues of performing well. So he's the first one who will rise up. But Maton and Stephan and Henches, I don't get that. He's wild, man. He has no idea where he's throwing the ball. And
When was the last time we had a closer or anybody who could throw over 100 miles an hour?
Oh, I mean, it's never been. Maybe Bob Feller. I think Bob Feller maybe got close when he was a starter. Yeah. I mean,
Mesa was 97.
Yeah, Joe Table, when he'd come in, he'd get up to 97. And Clase, I mean, he blew the last game himself because he couldn't field his position, which obviously is a weakness. Karinchak, he really reminds me of Shuey. I mean,
he's good.
This guy, first of all, he's crazy. He's kind of like the mad Hungarian. What was his name, bro?
Oh, Al Hrabosky.
Al Hrabosky. He's
How
out
can
there.
you forget Al Hrabosky? Come on.
Yumping and yipping and yapping. And this guy, I mean, he in the 8th inning, he's a setup man. All right. The 8th inning, he ends up, getting the 3rd out. He runs over and he's hugging his catcher, Well, Roberto Perez doesn't love him because he crossed him up and broke his finger. Karinchak's got a lot of, and now Alistair's saying there is an echo.
Yeah, that's probably on me. I
I'm not
consider
so
myself.
I'm still not getting an echo from Moo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on
getting the
Lou,
echo
it's
from
just us.
Brian and Brock.
Yeah.
It's Brian.
But I'll tell you, Karinchak, in my way of thinking, is done a remarkable job. And he's got a big fastball, and it explodes in the upper part of the zone. And he can throw a curveball. What do they call it? The fall off the table, noon to 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
12 to 6.
Yeah.
12 to 6.
I mean, my God, straight down and nosedive. So, I mean, but this encourages the owners of the Cleveland Indians. It encourages them to continue
they figure they can have a competitive team and not spend any fucking money for anything.
Yeah.
Just keep getting these young pitchers on their first contracts coming in.
Yeah, they're just over the basement payroll.
I mean, the team had a bigger salary back in like 1994 than they do now.
I mean, you can't be serious with.
Well, yeah, but that was a completely different freaking ownership.
Before we won anything. Before.
Fucking Jake
like
Bowers.
93, 92.
I mean, how is Bowers even on this roster? I mean, and Andre Jimenez, I'm trying to figure out. He's a 183
Please don't tell me, Jose.
He does not field that well. So, I mean, look at what we got that are proven major league players. I think Cesar Hernandez does have some ability. I think, of course, Jose Ramirez is really good. Eddie Rosario is a major league player. But the rest of these guys, Ahmed Rosario, no. Josh Naylor, no.
No.
Now, Franmil Reyes is a legitimate power hitter. A guy like Franmil Reyes, when he really is hot, he's like Frank Thomas. But when he's really cold,
he's like Sammy Sosa in his last year.
Or Rob Deere.
He just strikes. Yeah, like Rob Deere. Yeah, just swinging at whatever's anywhere near the zone. Franmil Reyes is an extremely powerful man. And if he ever really got his stroke shortened, because he doesn't need, the ball's coming off his bat at an incredible velocity. My God.
Leading the team in batting average, second in home runs.
Yeah, he's having a good year. And Jordan Luplow, again, how are you telling me that this guy belongs in the bigs? Or Yu Chang, or Austin Hedges, or Harold Ramirez, who is some long-lost relative? It is really difficult, and it's always... And they're in a division that they could get into the playoffs if they just invest a little in some offense. And they just won't do it.
Well, why should they? Why should they bother?
No incentive.
Why should they bother? No.
I got some Browns news.
Yeah, go ahead, fire away.
Browns awarded kicker Chase McLaughlin off waivers from the Jets.
So they're going to put the fire to the feet.
In 2019, he was with the Colts, Chargers, and 49ers. 2020, he was with the Jaguars and Jets.
He's the camp competition to see if you can,
This to say he probably won't make the roster. He's been on 5 teams in 2 years.
I think that's safe to say. Yes. And I'm sorry, Rick, about these echoes. There's just nothing I can do about
nothing's
it.
worse than the seagull section of side 2 of Metal. Wow, put that out loud and scare their neighbors.
Yeah. Let me see what happens if I unplug this. Did that help at all as far as the echo?
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Can't say Rick is like... Cody Parkey is like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe me, is what they said about Vinny Testaverde. He will break your heart. He will break your heart. He really will. He'll miss a big kick that's going to hurt you in the worst possible way. I'm kind of interested in Curtis Weaver. There's a guy.
Weaver. Now that was a great pickup.
Reading about him. I was reading about him. Yeah, and I know that Derek Frisbee was talking about him, and so I was just doing some reading. Yeah, the guy's bent his toe back all the way when he was on the practice field with the Dolphins. And it shattered the big toe, and he's finally gotten the strength back in the thing. But this guy coming out of Boise State had 34 sacks in 3 seasons, and now I don't think anybody's thinking he's the next great thing, but I honestly believe that he is going to make this roster unless he just proves that physically he couldn't come back from downtime. There's Myles Garrett, there's Clowney, and there's, McKinley. But beyond that, the names that he has to go up against, they're not really big names.
Exactly.
And, he was a 5th round pick in the draft by the Dolphins. And that's, this is a guy that the Browns have picked out. And, he'll be a backup kind of guy. But I think that there's a real chance that he makes this roster. And that these other fellas, who I think they're going to be the ones who maybe get sent down to the practice squad. Porter Gustin, Cameron Malveaux, Joe Jackson, is she really going out with him? And free agent Romeo McKnight. Gustin is the only real competition here. Malvo, Jackson, and McKnight, just set them on down to the practice squad or whatever. Porter Gustin he's rather one-dimensional. He's not a very big, powerful man, but he's got a very high motor. And that's what it comes down to. It's Weaver versus Porter Gustin, I believe, to make this squad.
Sounds like a town in Texas, Port Augusta. I'm going to go down to Port Augusta and go hang out on the beach.
Well, it sounds like a designer sunglass.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. I'm wearing my Porter Gustins.
Yes, my Porter Gustins.
So, yeah, I mean, but it's nice when giving people an opportunity, and it's not that this guy played his way off of the Miami roster. At least, he had a reason why he got cut, and, he got hurt really bad. And we don't know what he can do at the NFL level, and the Dolphins didn't stick around and find out. They just kind of let him go. And it'll be interesting to see if he lives up to a fifth-round billing, if he can be depth, on the defensive line. And this is something the Browns are certainly going to need this year.
I mean, if the Dolphins ever sort themselves out at quarterback, they would be a fucking tough team to beat.
Yeah. I mean, and I see that this will tell you how important it is, and Trevor Lawrence should be paying attention.
How important is it?
Well, I mean, and the Brigham Young quarterback should be really interested in this. How important it is to protect the quarterback's blind side. The Indianapolis Colts, fearing absolute death and destruction, for any quarterback who plays with them, let alone Carson Wentz, have made a deal with former Chief Eric Fisher, and to be the guy who protects his blind side. The problem is he ripped out his Achilles in the AFC Championship game against the Bills, and he's not going to even be able to play this year. To put into perspective that they feel that they've got to do something to strengthen their offensive line, and they're willing to let a guy who's a proven starter in the NFL and a good offensive lineman really sit out for a year. And if Carson Wentz survives his first year in Indianapolis, then Eric Fisher will be playing the left offensive tackle. But, I kind of would like to, if I were Carson Wentz, I would hope that they have enough people to protect him now. It kind of is superfluous worrying about next year when he was beaten about like a rag doll his last 2 years in Philadelphia. Kind of a difficult situation. So,
So you're in a better mood now, Moo. You're grumpier.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I don't know whether the Browns are going to, this whole rookie mini camp situation, the Players Association is saying, no way, Jose.
Isn't all that shit voluntary?
Yeah, well, the Browns are all for it. This weekend is going to be rookie camp, but the NFLPA is kind of urging their members not to do this. 3 teams held their rookie mini camps against the urging of the NFLPA, and young guys trying to make
including the Jets.
Yeah, the Colts, the Jets, the Raiders. Unless something changes, these guys, Newsom and Koromoa and Schwartz are going to be in rookie camp. And again, how much the virus is going to affect and disrupt the coming year of football kind of makes me worry less about it. I really think the Browns had an advantage that they were playing in quiet stadiums, that they weren't having to face the raucous Pittsburgh, crowds and all that, and the trouble hearing, play calls and hearing things in your headset. And you know,
Well,
somehow.
Pittsburgh cranked up their PA though. Their public address system was really
Oh,
loud
they would
for that
fuck up your
playoff game.
headset too. Pittsburgh was
Yeah,
famous for
it
fucking up
just
their
shakes,
opponents'
man.
headsets.
They're
Yeah.
worse than the Twins were with the wind blowing out on the air conditioning when
Yeah, the Metrodome. Yeah.
Metrodome air conditioning turned the wrong way when the other team was bad.
You know, I'm looking forward to whatever it is we get. The thing that's interesting, and I'll leave everybody with this, and you know, the news media doesn't get it. Okay, CNN doesn't get it.
CNN.
Here's the headline. Nearly 80% of people in the United States live within 5 miles of all 3 COVID-19 vaccines. Look, I'm getting my shot on Thursday. There's going to be no Friday show because, you know, there's going to be a hangover. There's going to be, it's going to be it's a 2-day thing, and then you kind of move on for most people.
Then on Monday he'll show up with a tentacle out of his neck.
Yeah, you'll have like horns sticking out. You look like a puppet cow then.
The thing that's amazing is with 80% of the people in the U.S. living within 5 miles of availability of vaccines, and I can tell you, you can walk into any pharmacy and you can get it. The 40% of the population who voted for Donald Trump don't want it, and they're never going to take it. It doesn't matter.
It's not just Donald Trump supporters.
Huh?
It's not just Donald Trump supporters.
It's young people too. It's young people. The young
it's also in the military.
Oh, well, they're Donald Trump people. Come on. The military is as right wing as you can get. Please don't.
Not the guy running it.
But the young people, I will say this. The young people who feel like maybe they're strong enough to survive anything, they're concerned more about the potential side effects of the vaccine, not now when they get the shot, but down the road. So they're buying into a different kind of story that, this could really give you long-term damage. There's so much misinformation. You know.
No, well, young people are the same people that are calling Mother's Day Birthing Person's Day because it offends transgenders and all this bullshit. It's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and believe me, the young people, I don't see eye to eye with these people. They're so politically correct that it makes me want to vomit.
Dipshits like AOC claiming the border problem and racism is a product of climate change. Like the fucking trees, anything people being racist.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is goofy, and but you're never going to get these people to take the vaccine, so it doesn't matter how close it is to people. And one other thing is that it's never going to go away either. See, these people are shaping the future, and then they're going to complain about it when it happens that way. This is the way things work in the world. You see, you complain, you say, I'm not going to take the vaccine because of whatever reason, whether it's a health scare or whatever, and then you're going to get variants in, and they're going to say, see, I told you. The one side's going to say, it doesn't matter. They want to give you a booster shot, and they're never going to get the booster shot. We're always going to be one step behind. And that's the way it works.
I got props for everything here, man.
What the hell is that?
It's Eeyore. Brian just called me Eeyore in the chat room.
Oh, you are the Eeyore of Cleveland sports.
Well, you'd feel the same way if you had a fucking pin up your anus.
Well, otherwise you'd lose your goddamn tail.
So, I mean, really, football could be affected the same way, and we could be just going through spin cycle here over and over and over again, the same bullshit. So, who knows? But I felt good about the fact that we were well coached, and we communicated well, and we didn't have to run a whole new offense with fans screaming at the top of their lungs. I felt good about that. And I feel good about where we are right now. But I would like to see a lot of fans in the stands. I want to see life get back to a more normal thing. And but it's never going to be, with 40% of the population not taking this. It's never going to be normal
Now, I
again.
would like to point out that we had 90,000 people showing up at the draft who all had the vaccine and had to prove that they had the actual vaccine to the NFL personnel.
Yep.
So this 40% bullshit doesn't really mean anything.
No.
Well, why doesn't it? You need 70 to 80%.
What's
of the
60% of
population.
350 million?
40% of 350 million is 140 million. 60% would be 210 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And you need,
there you go.
you need
There's
70,
your NFL audience.
you need 70 to 80% for sure to create herd immunity, which is something that the right wing was talking about a year ago, and now they've stopped mentioning herd immunity because they don't want to take the vaccine. The fact of the matter is that you're always one step behind, and the variants will always be one step ahead, and you're always going to need shots. That's the unfortunate thing, and you will get it. I guarantee you will get the variant. And if you're not vaccinated, you'll get the variant. And if you're lucky, if the whole country is lucky, the variant will end up being weaker. The only hope that we really have to be ahead of the game, if you look at science and not politics, is that the variants can be more transmissible or less transmissible. They can be more deadly or less deadly. If they're less transmissible, it can die out on its own. It could happen. It could. But then again, if it's more transmissible, then we're going to be, down here in Florida, we're going to see a lull in the summer like we did last summer, and it's going to pick up again in the fall. And, that's going to screw up football again. It's going to make it hard for the fans. Browns fans want to be there. They want to reach out and touch this thing, man. And I wish they could. So, and I'm not one who's going to force people to take the vaccine. There's too many people saying no. There's too many people saying they're not going to do it. It's just never going to work. I'm going to do it. Rocks did it because we don't really feel like being hospitalized and dying that way. If you're a high risk person, you don't want to push the envelope that way. If you get a lesser degree of it, then you can survive it like any flu. But I don't know. I hope that it's, we'll see. Come August, September, we're going to see how this affects the National Football League again. And I know the NFLPA is saying, don't do these mini camps and all that kind of thing. But you got to be able to install your offenses. And, the poor Trevor Lawrence, what is he going to do with Tim Tebow? How in the hell, Baker Mayfield at least had his little passing camp, You got to do what you can to kind of keep in touch, and keep your timing and your vibe going, But it's really hard. And for the teams that were losing teams who have had big turnover, it's a real challenge. And Stefanski was up to the challenge, but not all the coaches are as organized as he is. So it'll be interesting. So I'm done, and I hope. I wish there was more sports I could talk to you about. I really do. But right now,
Thanks for coming, Gay.
Who are the Indians playing tonight? By the way,
they are not.
Nobody.
Oh, they're off
I
tonight.
think they got the Cubs coming up.
Oh, glory be to God.
The Cubs are shit too, though. They're like 500.
Yeah, you start playing outside your division, it gets a lot harder. And if you're playing in Chicago, you know what that means.
Jason Kipnis.
So everybody, have yourself a good week, and I will fill you in on Twitter how my experiences are with the second shot.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I can honestly say that Rox was ready to go today, but other things came up. She was talking to some people and friends on the phone. But you know, it wiped her out. She had a Thursday shot, and all day Friday, she was like, no, she had a Friday shot, and all day Saturday she was just deflated, but bounced back the next day, and you know, now she's up and around, bouncing around, and she's her normal self. So hopefully, I'd imagine I'm going to have an aftermath, a tough Friday, and maybe feel a little better come Saturday, and that's all you can ask for, and hopefully that will, you know. But I'll keep everybody informed. Thanks for tuning in, and have yourselves an enjoyable week. Enjoyable week. And if you have any questions about why this is echoing, send them to StreamYard, not to me. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Bye.